the chanting of the holy name and to maintain material attachments, even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success, Krishna Prema. I once again thank everyone for joining the Bhakti Sangha conference call. Let us move to our next session, which is Srimad Bhagavatam class. Yeah, prior to that, may I know who all have joined the call this morning?
हरे कृष्णा नंद प्रिय नर्मदा माता जी, दंडवत प्रणाम। चला प्रभुपाद की जय, गुरु महाराज की जय। प्रीतिदासी from Charlotte. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Preeti Mataji, Dhanavad Pranams. Please accept humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. Thank you very much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna, welcome to the call, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Nandapriya Narmada Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Vinita Gandharvika Devidasi from College Station, Texas. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji, Dhanavad Pranams. Please accept humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. Thank you very much, Mataji, for joining the call. Welcome to the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Nandapriya Narmada Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga, and all the glories to the assembled devotees. This is Manjri Leela Devidasi from Naperville. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Manjari Leela Mataji, Dhanavad Pranams. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. Thank you very much, Mataji, for joining the call. Welcome to the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Nanda Priya Narmada Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. My humble obeisances to all the assembled devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. This is Sushmita from Canada. Nice background, Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Sushmita Mataji. Dhanavad Pranams. Please accept humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. Thank you very much, Mataji, for joining the call. Welcome to the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Nandapriya Narmada Mataji. All glories Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. My humble obeisances to you and all the devotees. This is Krishna Kumari Devidasi from Bangalore.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Kumari Mataji. Dhanavad Pranams. Please accept humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. Thank you very much, Mataji, for joining the call. Welcome to the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Krishna, are there any other devotees who would like to introduce themselves?
Mataji is SGD is Prabhuji. I don't know. I just want to check. Yes, it's Prabhuji. Yeah.
Mataji.
Yeah.
Okay,
Hare
then
Krishna.
We'll start the recording.
Hare Krishna. Welcome to Bhakti Sangha conference call. Today we are very fortunate to have His Grace Sukumar Gaur Prabhuji on the call to enlighten us on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, 11th chapter, 35th sloka. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranams. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for giving your very valuable time and association to us this morning, enlightening on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam. Welcome to the call, Prabhuji. Please take over the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नामे नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्वेत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे कृष्ण. So today we'll be reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 11th, text number 35. Yasya yallakshanam proktam pumso varnabhyavanjikam yad anyatrapi drishyeta tatte neva vinirdishet. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. If one shows the symptom of being a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra, as described above. Even if he has appeared in a different class, he should be accepted according to those symptoms of classification. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Herein it is clearly stated by Narad Muni that one should not be accepted as a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya or Shudra according to the birth. For although this is going on now, it is not accepted by the Shastra. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 4.13, Chaturvarnamaya Shrishtam Guna Karma Vibhagashaha. Thus, the four divisions of society, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, are to be ascertained according to the qualities and activities. If one is born in a Brahmana family and has acquired the Brahminical qualifications, he is to be accepted as a Brahmana. Otherwise, he should be considered as a Brahma Bandhu. Similarly, if a Shudra acquires the qualities of a Brahmana, although he was born in a Shudra family, he is not a Shudra because he has developed the qualities of a Brahmana. He should be accepted as a Brahmana. The Krishna consciousness movement is meant to develop his Brahminical qualities. Regardless of the community in which one was born, if one develops the quality of a Brahmana, he should be accepted as a Brahmana and then may be offered the order of sannyas. Unless one is qualified in terms of the Brahminical symptoms, one cannot take sannyas. In designating a person a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra, birth is not the essential symptom. This understanding is very important. Herein Narad Muni distinctly says that one may be accepted according to the caste of his birth if he has the corresponding qualification, but otherwise he should not. One who has attained the qualification of a Brahmana, regardless of where he was born, should be accepted as a Brahmana. Similarly, if one has developed the qualities of Shudra or Chandal, regardless of where he was born, he should be accepted in the terms of those symptoms. Hare Krishna. So we welcome all the devotees for this Srimad Bhagavatam class. So grateful to all of you for allowing me to make a presentation on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 11. So we all are very fortunate that in this period of Bhishma Panchak, we are all together here discussing Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the Amala Purana, which is exclusively meant for devotees to be discussed. So in today's shloka, we will be discussing on some basic points again, because this chapter has been of a great importance all the while for all of us. It's a guiding light, and Prabhupada's purports are superbly very clear in pointing out the loopholes in the modern day society when it comes to a caste-based system. So here in the shloka, now this is the concluding shloka of this chapter. So we have divided this in three sections. First, we will take a look at what's happening here, the basic principles. Then, secondly, we will come to the Swadharma aspect. There are two types of Swadharma. And then the third part, which will come, is the journey which we have to take in between the journey between these two Swadharmas. How do we carry out that journey? So, this is the third point that we'll be carrying out. So here we see that Narad Muni says that the person has to be accepted not based on the birth, but based on the quality that he is currently displaying. So recently we were in Kurukshetra a few days before, and there we had the fortune of visiting the Surya Kunda, the place where we know that Radharani and Krishna met after the war of Kurukshetra. So there is one place called as the Yaksha Sthana. So we see this discussion happening in Mahabharata between Yaksha, who is none other than Yamaraj, who has taken the form of a Yaksha. And then he is asking question to Yudhishthir Maharaj, and Yudhishthir Maharaj's desire is that he gets back his brother, who are now killed by the Yaksha. So Bhima, Arjun, Nakul, and Sahadev all are being killed by this Yaksha. Killed means they are now lying dead. There is no sign of life in them. So Yudhishthir Maharaj himself is very thirsty, and even in that condition he tells the yaksha that please revive my brothers. So the yaksha says, yes, I'll revive your brothers provided you answer all my questions. I have some very pertinent questions to be asked. And there is one question which the yaksha is asking to Yudhishthir Maharaj, that how do you understand what or who the person is. For example, if a person is born in a Brahmana family, how do you understand that he really is a Brahmana, or he really is a Kshatriya or Vaishya or Shudra? So Yudhishthir Maharaj, even at that point, 5,000 years ago, Yudhishthir Maharaj is answering this question, saying that the Varna Sankara has already started. The intermixing of caste and categories has already started. And if you have to understand what the person actually is, you have to understand based on his qualities only. There is no other way. So this word Varna Sankara has to be understood very properly. Varna Sankara means there is mixing of qualities. For example, there is a Brahmana and there is a Kshatriya. Husband is Brahmana, wife is Kshatriya, or wife is Brahmana and husband is Kshatriya, or the mixing of the category. Now, what's special in this categories is that you have to understand that each category has its own basic qualities. For example, if you take fruits, okay, there are fruits which are naturally available, and over a period of time, human intelligence, they have tried to take different genes from different species and try to create another species. For example, initially we were all knowing that there was what we call, now if you have apple, now there are two categories of apple, there was intermixing, so it was naturally okay because the species is one. But what happens if you start mixing between two species? So over a period of time, what will happen is that neither the product that you have created will have the qualities of A species, neither gradually it will have the qualities of B species. Initially, you may see the intermixing, you may see some qualities displayed here and there. Just like in Japan, they created a square watermelon. Now it's nice to see a square watermelon, but then they later found out that it was not edible. So you can't eat. Now there was a tomato that was created by the scientists in the Western world, and that was created by inserting fish genes. Why fish genes? Because fish can stay for a long time in water, its body doesn't decay. So they wanted that the tomato should not rotten. So they inserted fish genes. Now, what is happening now? There is a huge controversy whether this uh, tomato is vegetarian or non-vegetarian. Okay, so when you try to intermingle with nature, the original qualities are lost. Similarly, when there is mixing in the mixing in the human social order, also uh, the person who is the product of the intermixing, over a period of time, he will not show qualities of either of the one. Initially, there may be like, but over a period of time, they'll start losing the qualities. For example, if a Brahmana gets married to a Kshatriya lady, or a Kshatriya person gets married to a Brahmana wife, what will happen over a period of time is the son, the progeny that will come into picture over a period of time, it will because he may marry somebody else or he may marry of the same caste, but what he is carrying himself is a diluted version of both. Okay, he is not a purely Kshatriya, is neither a purely Brahmana. There is a mixing. He has got some traits from his mother of a Brahmana son, and he has got some traits of a Kshatriya from his father. So initially he may display Kshatriya qualities also and Brahmana qualities also, but over a period when he has to pass on those qualities, now the prominence is lost. There will be no prominent Brahmana qualities, there will be no prominent Kshatriya qualities, it will be a reduced version. And over a period of time, neither the quality of a Kshatriya will be shown, neither the quality of a Brahmana will be shown, and initially everything, and over a period of time, everything will be lost. So the main problem with this Varna Sankara, you start losing the qualities. For example, if there is a, a potter, now potter, it's not an easy job to be a potter because potter is a person who has the knowledge bank related to soil. Okay, if you have a blacksmith, blacksmith has all the knowledge related to fire, metal, everything he knows. So if you ask a blacksmith here in India, they have a bellow. Okay, and the blacksmith is creating fire out of that bellow, and he starts to create that metal and give shape to different metal. Now, if you check out the fire that he has in his bellow, blacksmith bellow, and what you carry out in the lab or in the furnace is totally different. So there was a test that was carried out between the elements, that metal that was created in the company factory and that which was created with the blacksmith. So the blacksmith metal was found to be superior in quality because the fire was of a purer nature. And what we see in the furnace or what we see in the technology lab, that fire was supposed to be having low life, very low life. Okay, so the product which was created was also of that low quality. The point is, the fire also has qualities. If fire as an element has qualities, earth, water, air, fire, ether, everything has qualities. When you start intermingling, then they start losing their qualities. Similarly, a potter, when he marries in the potter community, the talent of dealing with mud, the qualities that he has in his intellect of dealing with mud, creating something wonderful out of that mud, will start getting diluted if he starts marrying with a lady or a person of some other category. Okay, so this is how you start losing knowledge, and that's something very, very serious. It's not an ordinary issue. That is why initially in the Vedic tradition, boy or a girl was not allowed to marry from a person from some other caste. Okay, why? Because over a period of time it was seen that the qualities, the talent, this natural skill set was seen to be getting diluted, and eventually it was lost. This is the thing that you have to understand, and this is exclusively brought out in chapter number 1 in Bhagavad Gita. Okay, that is why Arjuna's concern about Varna Sankara is not only about the pollution of the feminine gender, but also about the loss of the skill, talent that each particular community carries. Okay, now Prabhupada is writing in the purport that if you don't find the qualities in that person, for example, if he's a Brahmana, born in a Brahmana family, but is not displaying qualities of a Brahmana, he is not a Brahmana, he's a Brahma Bandhu. Okay, he externally looks like a Brahmana, but he doesn't have the qualities of a Brahmana. Just like Parikshit Maharaj himself in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, he calls himself as a Kshatriya Bandhu. He says, I am a Kshatriya, but I look like a Kshatriya, but I don't carry the qualities of a Kshatriya. That is why he calls himself as a Kshatriya Bandhu. Arjuna in chapter number 1, chapter number 2, Krishna calls him Shudram Hridaya Dorbalyam. Arjuna is called as a Shudra, whereas Arjuna is born of a Kshatriya mother and a Kshatriya father. Now, why is Parikshit Maharaj calling himself a Kshatrabandhu, or why is Arjuna being called as a Shudra? Because certain symptoms are shown, and based on the symptoms, you have to judge a person. For example, Arjuna is called Shudra because Shudram Hridaya Daurbalyam, because there is weakness of heart, there is the focus is on the quick immediate results, and the focus is not on the final goal or the final result. That's why it's called a shudra. Any person who thinks in a very short term pleasure, thinks about short term pleasure, he is called as a shudra. He only thinks of the current times, he doesn't think about the future. That is why he's called as a shudra. So Prabhupada is focusing on what he's focusing, that you should understand a person based on the lakshana, the symptoms, the qualities. Same thing Krishna also says in the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Brahma karma svabhavajam, Shatra karma svabhavajam. There are natural qualities which are displayed. Just like we saw, Arjuna is displaying the quality of weakness of heart. And that is why he is termed as a Shudra, even though he is a Kshatriya. So now everything will boil down where? Prabhupada's purport is very clear. Everything should boil down to one thing, that is development of the qualities. Okay. Now, 16th chapter Bhagavad Gita, Krishna makes it very clear. It is Daivi Asuri Sampada Vibhaga. There are two types of qualities each person has. One is Daivi and other is Asuri. And both have their own utility. Okay. Asuri also has utility and Daivi also has utility. And you are free to develop any of those qualities. Now let's come to the second part. When we have stopped here on qualities, now let's move on to the second part where we will be discussing on the Swadharma part. Okay. Now we have seen we have Daivi and Asuri. Now today what we are is a combination of Daivi and Asuri. We are not completely purified when it itself shows that we have Daivi Sampada also and Asuri Sampada also. At times we get angry. Anger is not a Daivi Sampada. Okay. It is a Asuri Sampada. Sometimes we tend to get greedy. It's an Asuri Sampada. Okay. Sometimes we feel very calm and mind is peaceful. It's a Daivi Sampada. So we what right now we are is nothing but a combination of Daivi and Asuri Sampada. Now, currently we are in a position where we have uh, two types of Swadharma. Okay, one is the Swadharma relating to the body, another is the Swadharma relating to the soul. Now, Swadharma in itself is very clear, the basic original nature. Swadharma. Now, if you consider body as the self, then the Swadharma becomes relating to the body. That is the Varna Ashrama Vyavastha. Okay. Now, if you follow the Varna Ashram Vyavastha or the Varna Ashram system very properly, what is the end result? You will become Brahma. Prabhupada has already mentioned in this chapter in the previous shloka. For 100 lifetimes, if you follow the Varna Ashram Dharma very nicely, which is relating to the body, you will become Brahma. Okay, now you became Brahma. What is the end result of becoming Brahma? Gita is very clear. Brahma Bhuvana Loka Punaravartino Arjuna. You will have to come back here and start again. There is no getting out of the material ecosystem. Now we have another Swadharma that is related to the soul. Now the soul, what Swadharma it has? It has only one Swadharma, to love and serve Krishna. That's it. And as you gradually grow, you achieve a perfection. Just like you followed the Varnashram, you became perfect in the 100th life, then you became a Brahma, which is the grand success of following the Varnashram Vyavastha. So what is the grand success of following the Swadharma? The Swadharma perfection is if you follow the Swadharma of the soul, then what will happen? You will develop your natural inclination to love and serve Krishna, and then you will return back to the eternal birth. Okay, so following Swadharma, Varnashram Swadharma, and following the Swadharma of the soul both have different end destinations. This has to be very, very clear. Now, I'll tell you one more point which will connect to this. Now, especially in Indian background, it is very difficult because in India we have a very just like Prabhupada in the very second part of this purport is mentioning about two things. One is Daivi Varnashram and one is Asuri Varnashram. In indirect terms, Prabhupada has mentioned this. There is Daivi Varnashram Vyavastha and Asuri Varnashram Vyavastha. What currently we are seeing is the Asuri Varnashram Vyavastha. Okay, because there is so much of confusion and there are reasons behind that. Will not enter that. Now, what is happening is how do you understand? Because each community has its own purificatory processes. Every community has to have its purificatory processes. There is no community without a purificatory processes. If there is no purificatory process, that means it's an animal kingdom. It's an animal community. Now, there are worshippers. We all know there are five types of worshippers, which even Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentioned. There are Ganapatya, who worships Ganapati. There are Saura, who worship sun god. Then we have Shakta, who worship Shakti. There are Shaiva, who worship Lord Shiva, and there are Vaishnavas, who worship Lord Vishnu. Now there are so many literatures for all of them, and this all are given by Ved Vyas. Okay, now Ved Vyas, if you read this Purana, now in India we had Ganesh Utsav for 10 days. Then I read the Ganesh Purana. Then there was Navaratri Utsav. Then I read the Devi Bhagavad. Then there was some festival related to Lord Shiva. I read the Shiva Purana. And if you read this Purana, I can guarantee you one thing: you will be superbly confused. Take it in writing. I'll tell you one small story from Devi Bhagavad. Okay, now Devi Bhagavad is very popular in India. It's not a primary Purana, it is a Upa Purana. It is a secondary reference point. It is not taken as a primary reference, it is secondary. But even our Acharyas, even Jiv Goswami is quoting from Devi Bhagavad. And Devi Bhagavad is a reference where even Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is predicted there in Devi Bhagavad. And Harinam is the best. And even Devi Bhagavad says that you read Bhagavatam. But this is only for those who understand the power of Bhagavad, but not others won't take it the way. Now, what happens is there is a story where Vyasdev sees a uh, parrot, he parrot, she parrot, and their kids in a nest. And the mother is feeding, the father is bringing so many things, and the entire family is having such a good time. And Vedvyas is watching all this event, and he sees that this family is so sweet, and everybody is so happy, and the father is bringing something, mother is feeding the kids. And then he comes to a point where he understands that he has no kid, and then he feels very bad that I don't have a kid, and if I die, who will do my antim vidhi, who will do my kriya, who will give me pinda? And he's very morose. And at that time, Narad Muni comes there. Okay, Narad Muni comes, then he's asking, what happened, what's the problem? Then he says, see, I don't have a son. If I don't have a son, what will happen to me? Who will take care of me after my death? Now this Vyas is absolutely different from what is shown to us. Okay, this is absolute, is the same person, but his understanding from one point doesn't make him the complete person. Now he's very confused. He's crying before his guru that please do something. Then his guru says, I know one thing which I learned from my father Brahma. He says, what? My father Brahma has the same thing. He said, to whom? He said, to Vishnu. How come? Then he narrates a story. He narrates a story where Brahmaji one day sees Lord Vishnu performing tapasya, and into deep, serious meditation, huge, very strict sadhana is performing. And Brahmaji is absolutely confused that the Supreme Lord himself is performing tapasya. He prays to the Lord that you are the creator, you are the maintainer, you are the destroyer, and still you are performing tapasya. For what purpose you are performing tapasya? To whom are you performing tapasya? Everybody performs tapasya for you. Whom are you performing your tapasya for? That is the time when Lord Vishnu gets very angry, and in that anger, he chastises Brahma. Don't you understand? I am not the supreme. I am not the supreme controller. There is somebody who is greater than me, and I'm praying to that person. And Brahmaji is in shock of his life. He says, I was told that you are the supreme. Bhagavad first canto is third canto, second canto, everywhere. You are the supreme. How come somebody else is supreme? Then Lord Vishnu tells to Brahmaji that Mother Durga is the supreme, and I'm praying to her so that I have a son. If somebody reads this, it's absolutely shocking that why shouldn't there be confusion? If somebody is reading Devi Bhagavad, he will worship Devi Bhagavad. It is written in that way. If you read Shiv Puran, you will follow Lord Shiva. If you read Ganesh Puran, you will follow Lord Ganesha. You know, there is one Gita which is sung by Lord Ganesha. Lord Ganesha in the Ganesh Puran is showing his Virat Rup Darshan. There is a Gita which is spoken, same Gita, almost same content. There is 400 shlokas, here we have 700 shlokas. Now, if anybody is reading that, is confused. Now, how do you resolve this confusion? Because the ultimate point of the Swadharma of the soul is to love the Supreme Lord, serve Him, and go back to the eternal world. How do you resolve this confusion? Because this is a serious confusion. Now, let's go in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where we will, where this controversy is resolved. Okay, when I was going through the first canto, I found this very this is Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur quoting. This is 1 to 6. And this is a very famous shloka. We all know this. But when you read the commentary, you will understand what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying. How do you resolve this controversy? Now, we all know this is a very famous shloka. Savai pumso paro dharmo yato bhakti adokshite ahe tuki apratihata yayatma suprasidati. Okay, now the sages of Naimisharanya. Now, this is the second chapter where the sages of Naimisharanya are asking Suta Goswami that how can a person become completely satisfied? What is the way and means? Now, if you see the setting, we all know the setting. What is the setting? First, his father, Suta Goswami's father, Roma Harishana Suta, is speaking Purana. Okay, Puranas to whom? Shaunaka the Rishi and the 88,000 sages. But we know in between that Lord Balaram comes and the entire event happens. Romarshan Sud gets killed, and the sages ask Lord Balaram, we had given him an blessing that you have a long life, you tell us the Puranas, you tell us the conclusion, now he is no more. Lord Balram says, don't worry, I'll transfer it to his son. And that is how we see Suta Goswami sitting on the Vyasasana and delivering the entire synopsis. Okay. Now, when Shaunak Rishi asks Sut Goswami that tell what is the thing that will help a person be completely satisfied. And in the second chapter, he hasn't offered obeisances to his guru. He remembers, oh, I forgot to offer Mangalacharan. Then he'll offer Mangalacharan. And after offering Mangalacharan, then he'll answer this question. That is where he remembers that this question was even asked to my Guru Maharaj. Who? Shukdev Goswami. Who asked by whom? That is where Suta Goswami remembers that before my Guru, who was sitting, not ordinary people. There were people who had faith in the Karma Kand. There were people who had faith in the Karma Nishta. There were people who had faith in Jnana Nishta. There were people who had faith in Yoga Nishta. There were people who were Ashtanga Yogis, top of Ashtanga Yogis. There were Siddhas. Then there were people who were mixed. Some had bhakti plus karma, some had bhakti plus jnana. And there were core devotees and there were pure devotees. This is the huge range. Please understand this point. There were people who had nishtha in the Puranas. There were people who had nishtha in the Upanishad. There were people who had nishtha in the Brahma Sutra. But Suta Goswami remembers that my Guru Maharaj, when he spoke the Srimad Bhagavatam, entire community which consisted of people having faith from A to Z, everybody was satisfied completely. Why? Because he spoke about Krishna. He spoke about the conclusion of the gamut of the entire Vedic text. If you read the commentary, everything is damn clear. That is why Prabhupada and our Acharyas, Gaudiya Acharyas constantly saying, read Bhagavad, because Bhagavad is what can completely satisfy us. There is no book in entire creation which can completely satisfy it, and that was displayed by Shukdev Goswami himself to the entire audience. After the seventh day, everybody is so happy and so satisfied and so contented because they have arrived at the conclusion that what has to be done with this human form of life. That conclusion was given by Shukdev Goswami, and that is where Sud Goswami says to Shaunak Rishi, that I'll repeat, he remembers his Guru Maharaj and this is how Bhagavad starts. So there is absolute no confusion that Varnashram Vyavastha ends where? It doesn't end anywhere. It has to end in where? Loving Lord Krishna. You have to end there. There is no other way. Okay. But what happens when there is Asuri Varnashram Vyavastha? Then the caste system becomes very prominent. And then there is this higher caste, lower caste, untouchability, everything will come into picture. Now, let's come to the third and the concluding part of this session. Now, I'll tell you two stories from Mahabharata. Now, how important is it to become a Brahmana? Okay. And how do we become a Brahmana? Because most of us are not belonging or not taken birth in a Brahmana family. And even if anybody is born in a Brahmana family, Kalo Shudra Sambhava. By birth, everybody is a Shudra. Kalo Shudra Sambhava. Janmana Jayate Shudra. Samskarat Bhavet Vija. Ved Patat Bhavet Vipra. Brahma Janati. You have to get reformed. Okay. Then you come to the third platform, which is becoming a Brahmana who knows the Brahma, who knows the absolute truth. Okay. Now I'll tell you two stories. There is one story in Mahabharata. Now, see, there was a time when Srila Prabhupada, his Guru Maharaj were spoken very badly about. Why? Because Westerners were given Diksha. Hmm? Now, let's resolve this. Can they be brought to the Brahmana platform or not? Let's try and understand through this story. There is the story of this king Hai Hai. Okay, this comes in Mahabharata. You can read this story. This king Hai Hai. Now there is some disagreement between these two kings, and so there is a fight that takes place, and this the king who is in opposition to this king kills the sons of this king. And this king runs up from the battlefield. And he comes, now he's a Kshatriya by birth. He's a proper Kshatriya. But to save his life, he had to run. And the king follows, his soldiers follow him. And and this king, he enters the ashram of Bharadwaj Rishi. Now we know Bharadwaj Rishi is a great Brahmana. And he enters there and he tells that this has happened, please save my life. I'll be eternally grateful to you. So Bharadwaj Rishi says, okay, hide here. You can take shelter of my. He doesn't hide. You can take. He says, you take shelter of my kuti. You can stay here. And he's inside. Now the king follows him. And when the king comes, he sees that this is the kuti of Bharadwaj Rishi. He immediately bows down, offers respects. And then he says that we are searching for a Kshatriya king uh, who has run away. And Bharadwaj Rishi makes only one line statement. He says that there is no Kshatriya here, all are Brahmanas here. That's it. And the king bows down to him, he leaves because he has trust on Bharadwaj Rishi, because such a great sage. Now this king who is hiding comes out. And that is where, just because Bharadwaj Rishi has spoken that there is no Kshatriya here, everybody who is there is a Brahmana, from that day onward, that king got Brahmanhood. He became a Brahmana just because somebody who is a Brahmana, who is exalted in his position, awarded him the facility to develop Brahmanican qualities. And that is how this king becomes a Brahmana. And from that day, it was declared that he is no more a Kshatriya, he is a Brahmana. He was given all facilities to develop Brahmanican qualities. I'll tell you another story. Okay. There is one more story in Mahabharata. There is one boy whose parents are Brahmana, and his father trains him in all yajna. So this is his first yajna. He's going to the other village to perform the yajna. So he takes his donkey cart and he moves. And in between, halfway through, he hears both the donkeys speaking and they're laughing. So he hears, because he understands the language of the donkeys. So the donkeys are speaking in between them that, see, he is going for his first yajna. But he is such a fool that he doesn't understand that he is not a Brahmana. He's from a lower caste. So this boy hears and he becomes so worried. How come? So the Brahmanas are speaking that his mother, even though she was a Brahmani, she went to a barber, and through the barber she got this son. But the father was so nice that he said, you have made a mistake, forget it, get him, we'll train him up. But he is not actually a Brahmana because his father is a barber. So he's so shocked. Immediately he returns halfway to his father and he asks, is this true? His father says, yes, this is true. You are not my son. You are caught by your mother through a barber. So he says, I want to become a Brahmana. So he says, you'll have to perform tapasya because there is no direct provision by which you can become a Brahmana. So he says, to whom should I perform? He says, perform to Indra. So he goes and performs tapasya. Long time tapasya, long time. Indra is pleased. He says, what do you want? He says, make me Brahmana. He says, not possible. He says, no, I don't want anything. Indra goes away. Again, he performs another set of tapasya. Again, Indra comes. He said, make me. He said, no, I can give you any other facility. You tell me any. I can't make you a Brahmana. Third time, he performs tapasya. Indra says, nothing doing. I can make you Upadevata, but I can't make you a Brahmana. And that is how he becomes Upadevata, but not a Brahmana. Similarly, in our society, if we start performing tapasya on our own strength, we can never attain this Brahmanahood. But look at the power of the entire Guru Shishya Parampara. Look at the power of the entire Guru Shishya Parampara, that the purificatory rites performed by our own Acharyas, our own Vartaman Acharya, when they say that from today onwards, I give you this Gayatri Mantra, you chant this Gayatri Mantra, and you are declared to be a Brahmana, you are accepted by the entire creation as a Brahmana, even though currently you may not be showing any Brahminical qualities. And that is the same point that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Srila Prabhupada is mentioning in the purport. You read the purport, you'll understand this is the same point. That is why the transition from the Swadharma of the body to the Swadharma of the soul has to be done through the agency of Guru. Now, the last point. Okay. Now we understood that, okay, this journey is now entire shifting of the Swadharma. But okay, now what is the role of the guru in this entire thing? See, we all know that we have to love Krishna, and the process of loving Krishna is called bhakti. Now, there are two things you have to understand. Now, why this process of bhakti is so rare? Two things. First is the jiva doesn't have a proper mindset to receive bhakti because he's attached to material pleasures and comforts. That's the thing. Second thing is even Krishna's mindset is not favorable to give bhakti to the jiva. Jiva himself doesn't has a proper mindset to receive, and to give. Krishna doesn't have a proper mindset. Why Krishna is saying you come back, you come back? Prabhupada is writing in every purport, come back. Why is Krishna not favorable? Because Krishna understands that if he gives us bhakti, Krishna will be easily controlled by the jiva. Then he may be any jiva, however fallen he is, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Once the jiva gets bhakti, he Krishna has to obey his order, whoever he is. Whoever is, doesn't matter. Now, what to do? We don't have the right mindset. He doesn't have the right mindset to give. We don't have the right mindset to receive. Now, what to do? Now, we started from the point where the entire process is to develop qualities. Now, why to develop these qualities? Because that is how it attracts the attention of Krishna. Why we need diksha, why we need shiksha? Because guru trains us in this process of developing the qualities, and these qualities are then tested by Krishna. Tested means he actually wants to relish these qualities. Okay, but now let's move to Brihad Bhagavat. The story comes in Brihad Bhagavatam, second part, second book. Gopkumar story, we all know. Gopkumar enters Golok Vrindavan. Okay. He finds his guru there because he's chanting the Gayatri mantra given by him, his guru. His guru appears there. Then he asks his guru, sir, please tell me, uh, I have been chanting, I've been doing all the processes that you have told me, but I don't feel any love for Krishna yet. Okay, I long for him, I long to be with him, I long to serve him, but I don't have the right emotions. I don't cry for Krishna, I don't feel like crying for Krishna. And that is where his guru, he they both come before each other, and that is where his guru transfers his bhakti from his heart to the heart of the Gopkumar. And as soon as his guru places his bhakti in the heart of Gopkumar starts yelling, crying, shouting, rolling on the ground. Why? Because now the ground has become fertile by sadhana, and once the guru plants the bhakti in the fertile soil, immediately he's crying, where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? I want Krishna. I want to see Krishna. And as soon as he starts crying intensely, at the very next moment, Krishna appears before Gopkumar, and Krishna embraces him. And that is how Gopkumar is now completely satisfied. Yayatma suprasidati. That suprasidati, that complete satisfaction happens only through the agency when Guru will give his bhakti to you. So don't underestimate any of our gurus. Why Guru be underestimated? Because he already is the part of the Rasa Leela. He is already part of the eternal Leela. As soon as he recommends, you are called back. And as soon as he places his bhakti in your heart, you are done. There is nothing more left. You are already on the natural swadharma of the soul, that is to love and serve Krishna. Okay. Thank you all very much for kind and patient hearing. Hare Krishna. Shil Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for this wonderful class. Very nice, beautiful stories you narrated, and so it's very easy to understand when every time the classes with the stories, so to relate with the stories or the situation. And so the takeaway point which I took from the class is like the swadharma of the body should be taken to the swadharma of the soul. So the swadharma of the soul is a very important factor which we have to focus on. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for this
Hare
brilliant
Krishna.
class.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Devotees, any questions or realizations?
Mataji, can we end the class? I have to rush for another seva. That is why I
Oh,
kept it
okay.
very short. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So, dear devotees, so Prabhuji will take your questions while next time he is on the class. So, thank you so much, Prabhuji, for coming on the call and giving us your valuable time and association. With your permission, we will end.
Dear devotees, will pay our obeisances to Prabhuji. Vancha
Vaishya kripa
kalpatarupaksha
kripa
Jai Shri
Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Ki Jai.
Vaishnava
Krishna
ki
Ki
jai.
Jai, Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai.
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 Jai.